The new Fallout game is going to be cringe and gay. Okay? And I'll even do the favor of explaining why, as there are far too many people right now getting excited for a Fallout game in the year of our Lord 2026. And hey, I have a certain sympathy for why. After all, it's the original developers of Fallout New Vegas, with the original director and the inventor, of course, of Fallout on the team. Surely this should be fantastic, right? No, it's Obsidian Entertainment, and they haven't created a good game since Pillars of Eternity 1 over 10 years ago, but we'll get to that in a second. First and foremost, Obsidian reportedly working on new Fallout game after Xbox cancelled Avowed sequel. There's red flag numero uno right there. So, Avowed came out and was forgotten about within 5 minutes of its own release. Nobody liked it, nobody played it, nobody goddamn bought it. It was a massive commercial and PR failure. The fact that the company was working on a sequel makes it very clear that Obsidian doesn't give two flying fucks about what you want, they care about what they want to make. Because for all of Avowed's faults, it certainly was the kind of game that the developers probably did want to make. It's just too bad that in this particular occasion their passion did not translate at all into any sort of quality. And hey, good on Microsoft, by the way, for adapting the posture and the personality of a rage-inducingly maddened Wolverine on methamphetamine, wandering over to Obsidian Studios, swinging the scythe full force, with the absolute direct intent of leaving not a man, woman, or child at the studio unmolested, and threatening them, in essence, as this was a threat, I guarantee you that. This was Microsoft coming down on the company saying, listen, you are going to earn us money now, or we are going to fire the people who are left at your fucking studio. Indeed, there's even a rumor going around now that they forced them to take down a little shrine they'd built to their fired comrades. So good on Microsoft, but okay. Okay, let's move on to Obsidian, shall we? So why am I so confident that this is going to suck? New Vegas was a fluke, okay? Pure, unadulterated fluke. More a result of the limitations placed upon the studio than any actual genius of direction, but okay. So, obviously Obsidian is woke. They've been woke for years. Everybody knows this. They're loud, they're out, they're proud. All of it. Trans flags, pride posts, women's days, yada yada yada, you got it. They're doing it. And as for their, content roster, Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic 2, excellent stuff. Neverwinter Nights 2, Alpha Protocol, Fallout New Vegas, their absolute jewels, certainly. Dungeon Siege 3, okay, not very good there. And South Park Stick of Truth, solid. Pillars of Eternity, their last good game. And you can already tell the cancer beginning to slip in Pillars of Eternity, which, by the way, they launched on Kickstarter, very successful Kickstarter, as a bid to bring back classical role-playing games. This was the moment right there where the last vestiges of passion was hammered out of the company by a rainbow-colored fist. Thereafter, they produced virtually nothing of real note. Armored Warfare, free-to-play World of Tanks ripoff, Tyranny, which it did have some strong points, but none of them were actually executed. None of them were actually finished, proving, by the way, that even a limited developmental time and budget a la Fallout Vegas does not necessarily create gold, as that was the exact same thing with Tyranny. Then Pillars of Eternity 2 came out, which is probably their wokest game to date. Slightly hidden, but it is a game in which there is not a single male leader that doesn't have a stronger and more capable female sidekick ready and able to step into his shoes and do things right for once. The Outer Worlds, peak woke series, who got a sequel purely, again, for the same reasons as Avowed, because they wanted to make it. Grounded, hey, at least it's charming, if nothing else. And then, of course, there's Avowed their absolute disaster. And least you think, by the way, that they're going to be saved by the original crew, because they have announced they're bringing on the OGs here. So, design director Josh Sawyer will reportedly be leading the team on a new Fallout game. He's the exact same guy that produced all of these other flops. He's changed. And as for the creator of Fallout, well, this is him, right here, right now. He is an avowedly political leftist of the most thoroughly indoctrinated kind, who has long since surrendered any actual passion or interest for video games. And again, this is simply how it is, okay? People have X numbers of good games in them, it seems. X number of good ideas. Alternatively, they are simply brainwashed. We saw this most recently with the Caped Crusader. Bruce Timm coming back to do Batman justice again, and it is full of race swaps, gender swaps, the characters feel boring, Batman is barely in it, and when he is in it, he's picking up a revolver to threaten people. God, he isn't even the hero. It could easily be argued that Barbara Gordon, black at this point, is a far, far bigger hero than Batman, and not as Batgirl, mind you, but just as some random goddamn journalist slash lawyer, I think she was, and of course Wide Toya, a woman twice the Batman's size. Just because they were good once does not, by any stretch of the imagination, mean that they're good twice. And here's another point as well. So, this comes, quite obviously, after Microsoft brought a shotgun to their offices and then played Russian roulette with the entirety of the staff with a shotgun. You can imagine how that worked out. As them cancelling Avowed is very much so Microsoft putting their boot down and going, no, you're going to earn us money now. And this means that the decision to make a new Fallout game was probably taken, like, at most 2 or 3 weeks ago. This game isn't... It is not even in a conceptual stage yet. The only hope for this game being good is it takes so long to develop that it somehow passes beyond the current day moral zeitgeist to the point where even people like its creator, Timothy Cain, will simply forget why he was this weird in the first place, which is highly unlikely. Well, it's probably, and okay, here's another theory as well. Okay, Fallout New Vegas, fluke, caused largely due to the developmental shortcomings of their time, the time restraints and the budget restraints that they had placed upon them at the time. And okay, there's another thing as well. The very fact that this is the only thing that gives me some hope, the fact that they are given the Fallout IP is interesting, because Bethesda, its true masters, hates Obsidian because they made Bethesda look absolutely awful with Fallout New Vegas. Not just because Obsidian made a better Fallout game than them, but because now everybody knows that they were given a wildly unfair and ridiculously constrictive time limit in which to make that game. It made Bethesda sound like absolute assholes and sore losers to boot. A line of reasoning that has only grown more plausible and strident over the years. So the fact that Microsoft came in and literally wrestled that IP out of Bethesda's hand to give it to Obsidian is very noteworthy, showing yet again that Microsoft is just not fucking around anymore, which means that if this game is a flop, Obsidian is doomed. It's over. It is just gone. And so out of, if nothing else, sheer self-preservation, you'd think they'd do a good job. And okay, to return to the previous point, Microsoft might be thinking right now, all right, if Fallout New Vegas was indeed a result of very limited budget and very heavy time constraints, which didn't give the crazies on the team all that much time to butt in, change things, or introduce their own ideology into it, how about we try that again? And you know, that's probably your best bet in this case. Your best bet is to give Obsidian a ludicrous time frame that they need to fulfill, and then hope for the best. Hope that they will simply just work through the night trying to create something good, fearing for their jobs, as they very much so should. And maybe that time constraint, that inability to overthink, to politicize, to complicate, might result in what is in essence just then the rough framework outline of a video game, which in many ways Fallout New Vegas was as well. It was basically a large-scale mod for the preceding Fallout 3. Its revolutions, its introductions, its cool stuff was mostly based on writing, ideas, quest design, and interesting characters, with interesting plot lines, and then a cool world on top of it with the Caesar's Legion and so on. All of these things can be created relatively quickly, and as was demonstrated with the minimum amount of assets required in Fallout New Vegas, with very little input from the team itself, you know, because most of it's already there. You're basically working on a mod. You're basically constructing a large-scale alternative game zone to a game. You're working on what would, in any other age, simply be referred to as an expansion pack. The question then is, though, expansion pack to what? So, if they're working on a brand new Fallout game, you know, their own engine maybe, their own ideas, their own setting, maybe with their own little spin-off part of the universe, or God help us, worst of all, something connected to the Fallout TV series, then that is going to be a lot more work. Alternatively, they could simply just tag themselves onto the current Fallout and Fallout 76 version, but man, that engine was old 10 years ago. Fuck, that engine was old 15, 20 years ago. Trying to breathe more life into that today? Boy, I mean, I myself and many others often say that graphics is not that important if the gameplay is great and the stories and the quests are fantastic. And you know what? I stand by that, but releasing, in essence, a Fallout 4 mod on the market today at the kind of price point that's likely to actually satisfy Microsoft, it's gonna be a tough sell. And hey, if this was preceding Fallout 76 and such other money grab nonsense, maybe. And if they're wise, they might actually utilize that in the marketing procedure, basically pointing a thumb over at 76 and going, look at those greedy little whores, we're not gonna be like them. Maybe. There are, at the end of the day, there are thousands of maybes, there are thousands of theoreticals surrounding this product, but until we see a heck of a lot more than the name Obsidian painted in bright rainbow-colored letters on top of the Fallout logo, I'm not gonna get excited. Nor should anybody else. We should all approach this particular piece of news with grudging excitement, if excitement at all. A tremendous, wary sense of trepidation is required and warranted right now. So, do bear that in mind. This is just me throwing a bit of cold water onto everybody as, Jesus, this has every possibility of being probably the death of Fallout. Okay, I want to put that into perspective as well. Right now, what is Fallout? Right now, it's Fallout 76. A corpse somehow still moving. God alone knows how, and Obsidian being given the Fallout IP, which either indicates, again, Microsoft coming in and putting their foot down to a degree of virtually unheard of a publisher for the last 15 plus years, or that Bethesda themselves views the IP as de facto worthless at this point, and is all too happy to toss it away to some other company they've always hated, praying that a second bite from the poisoned apple of short deadlines and Fallout will finally put Obsidian out of their damned misery. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for listening. I do hope to see you all again soon. Until then, have a good day.